So high polygon models are not good for BIM. That's a basic understood fact. So it's best to keep these polygon counts low in order for them to work well with your Archicad BIM model and not bog it down with this performance. So in regards to that, what I'm going to take you through here in a second is how you do that. But just to kind of look at this bar stool on the high polygon one on the left and low polygon one on the right. And just looking at this, actually they don't look a whole lot different. They're pretty similar. Actually look like they would work well. The 2D symbols even look pretty similar. So in all, you really don't need that 449,000, polygon model here on the left. You really need that 10,167 polygon on the right. And that's really what you want to do. You want to keep these polygons low for these models. And this is really key when you're working with AI within a BIM model. So how do you do that? Well, first off, what you need to understand is that when you work with the AI generator within ModelPort, is that it will come up automatically with a default with the maximum triangle number checked off. And that's just the way that Meshi does that. They want that checked off to give you the maximum opportunity for generate a model in terms of the quality of the model, and then you select and then define what you want for that model in terms of the polygon count. So if you do not check that maximum triangle number, which is the default, you're going to get a high polygon model. So as a good example, this is an Adeline accent chair. We just ran at this with it unchecked, and it gave us a 514,000 polygon model. So a very high polygons count on this particular chair, which is really not a good use for BIM, right? We need to have that a lot lower in order for it to be useful in our models. The way we do that is by checking that maximum triangle number, putting 10,000 in there as an example to keep that low and keep the quality good. And that still looks very similar to that 500,000 polygon model we just looked at previously. And so now we've got a model that is going to work really well for our process. So now let's ask the question of how big should we make these polygon counts? So let's take a look at Archicad. The Archicad library has a lot of objects in it. And so we took a look at those objects and looked at the kind of objects that might be pertinent or specific to this purpose. Things like a chair, this designer chair here on the left, which is 4,550 polygons. Or this blanket, kind of another thing we might use as a decor and interior, which is 10,000 polygons. Or maybe as an exterior rendering, we want to have a car in there. Well, that's going to be 18,000 polygons. Or clothes hangers. Maybe we want to add that to a closet because we're going to have an exposed closet and we want to see those in there. Well, that can go anywhere from 4,500 up to 50,000 polygons, depending upon how many clothes that we have. Just one shirt in there is, or dress or anything, it's going to show us 4,500. So these are the kind of range of polygons that just in Archicad's library for sort of interiors as well as exterior pieces that we might see. Now, there are a lot of other objects within Archicad that are a lot less, but I want to look at sort of these because these are kind of objects that we might be thinking of. So in regards to that, we recommend, kind of keeping the target of 5,000 to 30,000 polygons. So why 5,000, why 30,000? Well, 5,000 is kind of the least amount, I think, polygons you want to go to. Below that, it starts to get a little bit, the quality starts to fall off pretty dramatically. And then Meshi recommends 30,000 polygons as kind of a good quality starting point for theirs. So I think somewhere in between there works well. And so the testing we've done with a lot of these objects, you can kind of see here, the star clock here that starburst clock is 4,537 polygons. So this is a very small polygon model here for this little clock. And then these deer sculpture here that a manufacturer produces or an artist produces is 8,452 polygons. Now, of course, we could make that even higher and even higher quality, but probably that looking at this is probably all we need. This plant, which is a pretty good quality looking plant here, is 10,238 polygons, so I think that would work okay. And of course, that bar stool, the detailed one we looked at originally, was 30,000 polygons. So those seem to work pretty well, and even the bar stool could even come down further, as I'll show you in a second. Now, can you exceed that maximum? Of course. You can always exceed that maximum, but just be aware that polygon count in BIM is really, really important. And it can really have performance issues if these models that you keep adding to it are really large. So we want to keep these BIM, these AI generated models for BIM as a small polygon count. So just kind of keep that in your mind, and you now have the tools within ModelPort to do that, and on the fly to be able to change that, as I'll show you in a second.